Yeah, and I mean, the really beautiful part of it to me, the part that I'm like just so grateful for, and yeah, like we talked about, like I've been through a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of losses, right? But I won too with him. Like, how wonderful is it to be with someone, even though we have all these monogamy, patriarchy, like ways that we're supposed to do things, and we're both raised in that way. How beautiful is it for someone to love you enough and be your best friend to a point that they want you to just be happy? Like it doesn't matter. Like, oh, that makes you smile, then do it. Just like, and I really got to experience that last night, and it was just, because you never know. There's so many emotions. You never know how you're going to react. You just have to be prepared to like communicate and work through it. But it was nothing. I had no issues last night. I absolutely was so excited for him, and I was so happy that he had so much fun. And I look forward to being more involved so I can see more of it next time. But he had such a good time, and it did nothing but make my heart happy that he got to experience that. And it's just like, I mean, what's the point of loving if that's not what it can be?
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from all over the world to hear their personal journeys of self-discovery through the lenses of love, sex, and relationships.
Our mission is to show people that they're not alone and to inspire them to embrace their true selves so that together we can open minds and live authentically without shame.
We believe everyone's story is powerful and beautiful, yet it's important to remember that everyone does life a little bit differently and that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we aren't doctors. Please consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Well, welcome to episode 447. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have one of the most powerful interviews we've ever done. This conversation is so full of unconditional love and compassion. It's really beautiful. Glory had a bit of experience with non-monogamy before getting married to her best friend back in 2005. After getting together, they were monogamous until 2017, when they slowly began opening their relationship after starting to explore a bit of kink and Shibari.
Yeah, as Emma said, there's so much power in telling stories like Glory does today. She's overcome so much in her life, and her resiliency and capacity to love is incredible. Glory shares some incredibly tragic and traumatic experiences with us today, and so there are a few trigger warnings for this episode that we want everyone to be aware of. There isn't like a specific time. It's sort of just general throughout the theme, or not necessarily the theme, but the conversation comes back around. So just if you're sensitive to these subjects, please be aware. So yeah, Glory talks about being raped, being sexually assaulted, and a close friend's suicide. So again, we just wanted you as listeners to be aware. But we also have some really beautiful conversations about being bipolar, PTSD, and mental health in general. So we wanted to extend so much gratitude to Glory for coming on, sharing her story with us in such a vulnerable way. You know, the mission of our work has always been to show people that they're not alone. And when we're able to bring these types of stories into the light, it really starts to destigmatize them and shift the power away from the traumatic experience to the people who are telling the story. So thank you, Glory. And thank you to Ken, who you'll hear a little bit more about throughout today.
Yes, you will. And thank you so much, both of you. We also want to emphasize that even though we talk a lot about heavy stuff in this conversation, Glory approaches everything with so much compassion and in such a way that when the conversation is finished, all you feel is this overwhelming feeling of love. It's really incredible. Also, Glory sticks around to answer some bonus questions for our premium subscribers. We have quite a bit of fun in these bonus questions, so you'll definitely want to stick around for those. If you're not familiar, our premium subscribers get ad-free podcast episodes plus a new 10 to 15 minute bonus episode every week where our guests answer some fun extra questions and give us an opportunity to get to know them even deeper than we do during our regular interview. You can sign up on a homepage of our website at normalizingnonmonogamy.com for just $4 a month. And if you do it right now, you don't just get to listen to our bonus conversation with Glory, you also get access to all of our past bonus episodes as well.
And technically, if you do it later, you still get access to all
You
those past
do.
ones.
We're
But
just trying to encourage you to do it now.
we're trying to strike fear in you so you go and support us. Anyway, with that, it is time to jump right into the interview with Glory for all of our premium subscribers and for everybody else. Just a few announcements. The first announcement is that we lead a community of over 300 people socializing and supporting one another every single day. We host our community on a platform called Mighty Networks, and we also have monthly community support Zoom calls, monthly virtual workshops, and in-person events as well, all for less than $10 a month. Our next monthly workshop is coming up next week on June 11th. It is called Beyond I Do, the Legal Agreements to Protect Non-Traditional Families. This workshop is led by Becky Calloway, who is a queer non-monogamous attorney and mediator in the San Francisco Bay Area who works with queer, poly, and other non-traditional families and allies. We actually just interviewed Becky earlier today, and that fantastic conversation will be coming up later this summer. But in the meantime, you can join us in our community to get a little bit of Becky in your life next week during our workshop. You can also learn more about all of the workshops that we do in our community by clicking on the community tab of our website. I'm sorry, I lied. Clicking on the workshop tab of our website, where you can see the list of all of our past workshops that we've done and the upcoming ones that we've got later this year. And as a member of our community, you get access to recordings of all of our past workshops. So go check it out, and we would love to have you come and join our community. Again, it takes just a few minutes to apply, and it's less than $10 a month, and you can find all of that information under the community tab. This time for real.
We also wanted to remind you about our favorite way to get tested for STIs. It is stdcheck.com. You hear us talk about it every week, but it's a fast, easy, and discreet service. When you use the links on the resources tab of our website, you get $10 off, making a 10-panel test only $129, and you support the podcast. So thank you in advance for using those links, and thank you for knowing your sexual health status.
Yeah, and also we tell you about this service because this is the service that Emma and I have used, and we've used it for years. We wouldn't tell you about it otherwise. So definitely go check it out. And thank you to everybody who's used this over the years. You make a big difference in our lives. So thank you.
And finally, a reminder, reach out to us, send us an email over on the Contact Us page of our website. We would love to hear from you if you have any questions or comments for us, or if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, just like Glory, we would love to have you. Just reach out to us and let us know.
And with that, it's time to jump into this interview with Glory.
Let's go. Welcome to the podcast, Glory. We're so excited to get to know you more today. Thank you so much for reaching out. You emailed us a few months ago.
And then we roped you in.
Yes, we invited you to come share your story, and now here you are. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a little weird hearing the introduction on this side.
Yeah, right?
With my own name.
That's right. That's right. Well, we're excited to chat today, as Emma said, and we'd love for you to maybe just kick us off by introducing yourself in whatever way you feel comfortable.
Okay. Well, for the podcast's sake, I'm going as Glory. I am, I don't know, I'm married to my best friend. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. We've been together since 2005. I met him when he was in the Army. I picked him up at a bar. I picked him up at a bar and I never let him go. And we lived monogamous, vanilla lifestyle until about 2017. And then we kind of started getting into Shibari. It like some stuff, like we were watching some show or something and it came up and my eyes got all like lit up when I saw the rope and he liked that. So we kind of started looking into it. And so we did Shibari and, started like playing with some of like impact and just, some of our kink side in general for a couple years. And then he brought up that, I forget how it happened. Oh, we had taken one of those BDSM tests. That's what it was. And his came up non-monogamous. And I was kind of like, well, what is that? What does that mean for you? And so like we kind of got into discussing that. And he was saying that he was interested in going to like a lifestyle club and swinging, that sort of thing. And so I had to sit on it for a little while because,
Yeah, this is all new.
yeah. And I'm sure as we go in, I mean, it'll make sense. Like, I had found a lot of safety in the monogamous. Before him, I was not monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him and I found a lot of safety in that.
Yeah.
And it was very vanilla. Like, we didn't even really is it like not a high, like maybe like 2 or 3 times a month kind of
Mhm.
thing. And even back then in the beginning of our relationship, there were moments where I had a really high sex drive and I'd be like, make a move on him and he'd just, be tired or, he has PTSD or, he had stuff going on. And he would just, he would sometimes make comments like we just had sex. And it would have been like 2 weeks before, so
Mhm.
there was like a lot of hurt feelings in our time of monogamy.
Yeah.
But I loved him so much, and it's not like the sex was bad.
Mhm.
It was just like, you know what? I love him enough. If this is all he needs, if this is, then I can do this. And I got very comfortable in that. So when he brought this up, because I always felt like I was like the sex fiend, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah.
like all of a sudden he brought this up and, so there was a lot of feelings, but we sat on it for a little while and I was like, yeah, I think it maybe took like a month and we talked more and more because I'm one of those people, like, I have to talk about everything. Like,
Mhm.
we go out to like a party and then the next day I've got to talk about it for like 3 hours.
You're in
It's
good
my
company.
process.
You're in good
Yes.
company, Glory.
Yes, you are.
It's my process. But so yeah, so then we went to a lifestyle club and it was, I mean, nerve-wracking, obviously, the first time you go. And I kind of just had a blast, like I had never realized that you could be in an atmosphere with so much consent.
Mm.
Like I have a lot of fear from, past experiences where, and especially like before Ken, that, like consent's not a thing. Like, you go to the bar, guy buys you a drink, and then all of a sudden he's expecting you to like dance with him or, but there was like the lifestyle club. I had never felt more safe in a space, yet I was more vulnerable,
Mhm.
like in my little outfits or, by the time I was brave enough to run around, hardly, wearing anything, that sort of thing. So like it really hit me that like I could be so vulnerable and people were so accepting and loving, like, like the compliments you give each other, especially the women,
Yeah.
some girls sit down and she looks great. So you're like, hey, you look fantastic. Like, I mean, there's a lot of support and I had never felt safer. So it kind of just like became my happy place.
Yeah.
So we started going to clubs and then
No, I love this. I just wanted to jump in real quick, Glory, because there's a lot in these beginning stages that I think are really relatable for people in your journey and I think in general. And so I wanted to pick at a few things here. One is you had said that before you got together with your husband, you said you weren't monogamous at that
no,
point. And I'm
no, I
curious,
wasn't.
what did that look like for you and your sort of relational style before you got together with him?
Well, so I I never wanted to get married. Um I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, more cattle than people.
Mhm.
And so everybody like, and the whole world. I mean, now that I even look back on it, it's just, it's insane. Like the whole world, you have to find someone, get married, start a family, you know, the whole ladder. And and to me, it seemed silly for me to date because I didn't want to get married. Because, like, the point of dating is, you get married, you have a family. And I always felt like when I did try to date, that I was leading people on. And I didn't really want to do that, like, because somebody always gets hurt, somebody gets more attached than the other. And I wasn't comfortable with it. So I had like a lot of times where, like, I'd date a guy for like a week or two and I'd be like, nope, because
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
getting too attached. And I always thought it was more like I had commitment issues. But now that I look back, I'm kind of like thinking like I didn't have commitment issues. I had, I maybe freedom.
Mhm.
I mean, cuz before Ken, I was engaged twice. One was like like I was in theater in college. He was like me. He was always the lead. I was the lead. But we were theater kids. So like we went to like a lot of very like open party situations. So we were pretty like free amongst each other.
Mhm.
And then once it kind of got serious and engaged, we were both kind of like, no, we don't like this. So we just kind of separated. And then he ended up leaving town because it was a college town. And it wasn't a big deal. Like, and
So
then,
you guys got engaged and then sort of decided mutually at that point, like, this isn't really what we want and
yeah, like we don't want to we don't want to be with each other forever. Like,
Got it. Yeah.
we were at that age where like he was kind of growing and I was growing a different way. And
Mhm.
we didn't dislike each other. We just
Yeah.
didn't fit anymore. It didn't
Yeah.
make sense.
How amazing, though, to be able to see that at
Yeah.
that age and to say, hey,
Yeah.
we took this
Yeah.
step to get engaged and now everybody's expecting something else. And we're just going to
Yeah.
say, yeah, you know what? We did it. Now we're done with it. Like, that's pretty
Although
amazing.
to be fair, back then nobody really expected me to do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Because a lot of my friends, like, they did believe that I had commitment issues. But anytime I was with someone and I've never cheated on anyone ever. Like, I would break up with someone and then go sleep with the new person that I wanted to. But I was not a cheater.
Hmm.
But a lot of my friends were kind of like, oh yeah, that's Glory. She's just gonna do what she wants to do, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
I moved around a lot. It was like that was kind of like the beginning of my bipolar. So I'm bipolar, and it was the beginning of my bipolar kind of starting to act up and me being unmedicated, and so it was a little bit. I From that moment of breaking it up with him, life got a little like chaotic, and there was there's a lot of stuff, but at one point I was I was raped violently. And I mean, that's not the only time I was raped, but
Mm.
this is kind of specific because so I had a knife up to my neck, and I was at a place that a party, and I was in the bathroom just like throwing up, because I had drank way too much. And some guy came in and he held me down. I was literally throwing up while being raped. And it was terrible. I mean, I can talk about it more freely now because I've gone to so much therapy. But yeah, it was a big thing. And shortly after that, I realized that I had gotten pregnant from the rape.
Mm.
So then I had a whole new thing to deal with.
Mm.
And so
And just for a timeline, like this is like your mid-20s, right?
yeah, so like 22,
Yeah,
Mm.
early 20s.
22.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So I was like 22, and again, I was bipolar. I was wild, and I was considered wild because like I would randomly move. People wouldn't see me for a few months, and then I just show back up on somebody's couch. I was a bit of a gypsy, and because I didn't want to date, like, because like every single one of my friends, they're one of those chronic daters. Like they constantly have to have somebody in their life. So I was like this wild single girl, basically. And so when this happened, I'd had some issues. Like, so my family, my parents, I love them. I'm very close with them. Um, but there were a lot of issues right before I turned 18. My mom has mental health issues as well that she did not deal with. And so I grew up in a household that was very toxically mentally unstable. It didn't lack love. I had too much love, if anything.
Mm.
But it was very sheltered. I didn't know what the world had to, like, I don't think I watched a rated R movie until I moved out after I was 18. So
Yeah.
I was raised very strict. So it was kind of like just like assumed that, because nobody knew I was bipolar then. Like, Gloria is just this wild child, because she was raised so strict and, and they just kind of
Yeah, you
wrote
like
it off.
swung the pendulum the other direction.
Yeah. Like, they just kind of like boxed me into this category of, the crazy girl. And so at that point, my mom and I were not talking. I was disowned at the moment. And I found out I had gotten pregnant. And I had told my best friend, and the first thing, well, who I thought was my best friend, I told this girl I was friends with all through school, and we lived together. We were roommates. I mean, she was my best friend, and I had told her about it, and she basically just told me, "Well, you shouldn't be such a slut. Guys think that they can just have it."
Jeez.
And
Wow.
so I didn't really have anybody at the time. So what I saw, I was having a hard time because you can't get an abortion in Kansas. You couldn't at the time. I don't know probably not. It's Kansas. But so I was trying to figure out a way to get an abortion because I felt like it was my only option. So there was this group of people, those like magazine scams where like they knock on your door and they tell you like, "Hey, we're selling magazines so we can go on a trip." That was me. I joined one of those groups and I traveled with them for a while. So I basically like just packed up like a bag full of stuff and got in cars with like a bunch of strangers and just left the state. Nobody knew where I was or where I went or, and now I look back on it, I'm like, oh, thank God I'm alive, but so
Well,
I
that
went
was
with
part of your mission to get out to find access
to
to
find
an
access to
abortion.
an abortion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then by the time, believe we were in Louisiana, I think it was legal there at certain places. By the time we'd gotten there, I was already probably getting close to I was at the end of my first trimester, probably getting close to my second. And I went to the clinic and there was a huge group of people, just, rioters, and I couldn't walk in the door. There was lines and lines of people that I had to walk through that were telling me that, like I was going to hell and I have a lot of religious shame and background and I tried to go to the door and I couldn't. And I left. And like still to this day I don't know how terrible this sounds. But still to this day I wish that I had had the abortion. I don't remember most of my pregnancy because I was manic, bipolar, and the amount of stress. I traveled. So I don't really know what I did, but I know my child was not born healthy. And I don't know if that was naturally, just from stress, not eating, because I was trying to like avoid showing. And, I don't know if it was like from that or if I did drugs or, like I know I had drinks a couple times, nothing like insane, but I don't know. I don't really know. There's months that I don't even know what I did.
Yeah.
And me and the therapist have decided that we're just going to leave those alone. I don't remember them. They said it's probably a safety mechanism. But so still to this day, I had wished that I had had the abortion. But when I realized I couldn't do that, I called my mom and I just told her I needed to come home. And she sent me a bus ticket and I went home. And when I got home, it was a whole thing because, again, my family's very strict. My mom said, "Okay, well, you've been messing around, you got to get your act together, and they have like a little guest house on the farm that I grew up on. And so I stayed there, but I had to get a job at a feedlot because she wanted me doing like hard labor, like, because like if you're a bad kid, that's what you do. You do hard labor. You sweat it out. Like
Mhm.
that's what you do. So she got me a job at a feedlot. Her best friend's husband worked there, so he could keep an eye on me. And again, I'm still pregnant. So, and nobody knows. So I worked at the feedlot,
So
doing,
when you came home, your mom didn't know you were pregnant.
no,
You just told her I needed to come home and
I just said I needed to come home,
wow.
that I
Okay.
was going to try to get better,
Yeah.
because that's what it always was. It was
Yeah.
like, I was a mess. I needed to get better.
Mhm.
So,
But yeah, what you didn't, what
What's
everyone didn't
actually
know. Yeah,
happening.
is the mania that was happening.
yeah, yeah. And it just, I was unreliable. Like I, I would, people would plan on me being somewhere and I would just dip out. I'd never show up on time. That's not me now. Now, if I'm not 15 minutes early, I get anxiety. But, but yeah, like I lied a lot. I wasn't in a great place. I was
Mhm.
mentally ill and toxic and terrified and pregnant and, dealing with trauma. And so
Yeah,
I
and
went
having
and
done and how you got pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Being
yeah,
like
yeah. I
you
mean, it was just, it was a lot.
holy shit.
It
Yeah.
was a ton to deal with. And I had to do it completely on my own. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
one person knew I was pregnant.
Mhm.
But like, yeah. And then when I got home, I worked at the feedlot. I was a feed truck driver and I shoveled heavy feed every day. And I did things that I probably shouldn't have been doing while pregnant, but I didn't want anybody to know.
Mm.
And I wore bigger clothes. Everybody just thought I was, gaining weight, but it was constantly hiding. And then at one point, I spotted and it made me really nervous. And I kind of like realized, like, I'm not going to be able to hide this much longer. Like, I'm going to be at the feedlot and a child is just going to come flying out of my overalls or something, like I have to do something. So I finally told my parents, and they were really great. Like, they were fantastic. They were very supportive, but there were no choices in the matter. I didn't want to keep the child anyway, but we got a hold of adoption agencies. My mom helped me do all that. We found a family to adopt, and then when I had him, the woman that adopted him, she couldn't have kids, and so when I went into labor, we called her. That way she could be there and cut the umbilical cord so she could have her own like birth story kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
Because I mean, like, I can't imagine like, because that's what people have is they have that birth story.
Mhm.
So I wanted her to have that because they were really wonderful people. I looked at tons of people and there was also, they weren't from the town I lived in. So one of the fun things in Kansas was, so when you get pregnant and you don't know who the father is, and you're going to give the child up for adoption because the father still has rights, I had to post like a ad in the paper that said that if anyone wants to claim the child that she's having, if anyone wants to
What?
step
What the
forward.
fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
And at the time it was just, it was like, that was like just what I did, like I look back on it and I'm just like disgusted.
Mhm.
Like I can't,
That's
I'm,
disgusting. That's horrific.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I survived all of it. The doctor I had just completely shamed me the whole time. Um, like every time I'd go in, she'd be like, well, obviously you haven't been taking care of yourself, or, like, well, what are you going to do this? And, like she was just, it was always like, well, how do you not know who the guy is? And, blah, blah, blah. And, and that sort of thing. And it was a lot, but my mom was great and she was there the whole time. And we gave him up for adoption. And he's, had a full life. He has health issues. But I've kind of forgiven myself for that, but it's hard, because like I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
But it was a really hard circumstance. And I mean, like, after we put the ad up in the paper, like, I had people who knew me that were just like showing up, like, can I have your baby? And it was so much.
Mm.
It was so much. And it was like, and even though my mom and my dad were super helpful, you could see how shamed they were by their friends. And you know what I mean? Like, so there was like this feeling of embarrassment for them,
Yeah.
you know? My dad was a notable person in the community. And, so it's just like, oh, that crazy Glory, you know? And it was, my mom was constantly at, her ends, just like, like, why can't you get your life together? Like, why can't you be functional? And, all this stuff. So anyway, so that was that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Horrific.
but after that, I basically hated myself, and I was on a very big mission to kind of slowly kill myself. um, I I started doing meth with a guy that I ended up getting engaged to. He was a meth junkie for about 8 months. And I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, "You look like a fucking junkie." And I said, "You can't do this." And I left. And I didn't really know why. At the time, I didn't know I was like trying to like slowly kill myself and sabotage myself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The guy I was engaged to was incredibly abusive. He was an alcoholic, not to mention a druggie, as I
Mhm.
was. Um, but so I moved away from him and the whole area. Um, he found me a couple times. Um, and went, back and forth, but I love you, and, we're meant to be together, the whole thing. The last time he found me, he was just straight up stalking me, but, it got handled, I guess. He, you know, there were big, Jerry Springer fights out in our yard, me trying to get him, away and stuff, but that was my only other engagement. Even then, I didn't cheat on him either. You know? But other than that, after that, I had, um I had 3 men that were very special to me in my life. They were friends. They were just friends with benefits, you know? But I had those friends, well, and I guess actually I had them before too, before the rape, I had them. Um And then through that whole time, but, like, I'd be away, and then I'd come back, and we were just friends with benefits again.
Mhm.
Like, so it was probably, like, one of them was probably about 4 years and the other 2 about 5, that I just had these solid, like, friends with benefits relationships, and one of them specifically, he's actually passed. He committed suicide 2 years ago. So, but I didn't realize how important he was until he died, and then that was a whole 'nother therapy session. Um
Just one session, huh? I'm amazed at how you
On
do
and on.
therapy, Glory. Jesus,
You'd
geez.
be surprised. But yeah, so I had this one, and he was wonderful. And, like, he was a friend, and we would have fun together, we'd hang out. Everybody knew, like, but we weren't dating, you know? And, like, back then, it was like, what am I doing? Am I just torturing myself because I'm crushing on this guy? But I don't wanna stop hanging out. Like, if this is all I can get, then I'm okay with it. But then, you have people in your ears like, "Well, you need more," "You need," like, people are like, "Get a ring on it," all that kind of,
Mhm.
thought process. And so, I always, like, was very conflicted with it until I was, like, lifestyle and I went through the therapy from his death. Then it was kinda like, we had a perfect relationship. I was just putting, like all these labels that they give you, and you don't know any better.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch the movies, everything. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And I just kind of assumed most of the time that I was just a fuck up. Like, you know, it took
That
me
you were doing something wrong with that.
always, like, no matter what I did, like, I mean, it's taken a lot of work for me to just think that, like, what I have to say is important because, like, you know, like, I was just always the fuck up. But yeah, so that's kind of that. And then, I had to say goodbye to that friend with benefit. The other ones had kind of already, like, spaced out, but when I met Ken, I kind of ended it with, but he was, you know, he's familiar with that sort of thing. And then we kind of lost touch, but we got back in touch, a couple years before he passed, and we just, like, Facebook friends, like, talked here and there. But when he died, it was a huge hit, and I felt so guilty for it hurting so much, like, you know, because I loved him, you know? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But, you know, in my head, he wasn't the one I was married to and in love with and, you know, the one I gave vows to. So why am I feeling this kind of painful loss of love over some guy I didn't even date? You know, like, but, you know, after lifestyle and stuff, and I look back and I think, man, I had it right the whole time. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Totally.
I was not fucking up.
No, not at all. I
No.
mean, I love that you say that because I feel like as you describe it, right? You said like it was the perfect relationship, and I think this is something that gets so lost on us, and is I don't know if the right word, like hidden from us, right? That
Yeah.
we can be in a relationship, and the people in that relationship look at it and say, these are all the things we want and need and how we want to do it. And if we do all those things, it can be the perfect relationship.
Yeah, and it was. And now I do have to say, I do have someone else, other than the hubby, in my life. And
Today.
he, yeah,
Yeah.
like going on now. Now it's not a romantic relationship, mind you. I have a huge crush on him, and he knows it. But the kind of thing. So he was married before, and him and his wife were one of the first couples in lifestyle that we both really got along with. And he was one of the first guys in lifestyle that I really just liked right from the start. I believe that they were more poly. But what ended up happening, we had met them and we'd played with them once, and me and him talked constantly, like became very close friends. He's very much like the guy that was in my life before, as far as like how I feel when I'm around him. Like very safe, comfortable. Like it's very rare that I'm so easy at like telling all my dark and deep secrets to like a man right away, specifically men. But him, it was just like, it was like he was an old friend, you know? But what had happened was, she she was an incredibly toxic bitch. I mean, is really what it comes down to. They were in an open relationship. They'd been swinging for years. They'd been together forever. But she was actually cheating on him, which is insane to me. Like, it blew my mind that somebody could have an open relationship and still cheat. But she would like sneak away and not tell him and not tell the kid. And then she finally, like, they were having a lot of problems, so he kinda, like, peaced out, and we didn't talk for a while, and I went through a whole sad loss about that too. I was like, "I can't keep a guy friend." Like, what's happening? Like, because I wasn't expecting, like, to play or anything like that when all that stuff. I
Yeah.
just wanted to be his friend, like, we're just
Yeah.
very close. And I really like having guy friends. I always had a lot, and I think that's one of the best parts of lifestyle for me is, like, when I make a guy friend, if I start to have, like, these weird feelings or I think that, you know, maybe they're flirting or something, I don't have to just stop it.
Mhm.
I don't have to be like, no, this is getting, this is too close to cheating for me in my
Yep.
head.
Yep.
Because now it's just like, well, with this guy. So eventually, like, there was some stuff that went through. He went through a bunch of stuff, and then he got back a hold of me. And he was like, hey, I'm sorry. And, but this is what's been going on. And I just didn't want you to be part of it. And I was very happy that he was kind enough to not, because we were still getting to know each other fairly new. And I'm grateful for that. Plus me being there wasn't going to help. Like, I don't like being a friend around that's not helping. Like, if I'm hurting you, I don't want to,
Right.
helping
And
or
the way you were tied into it wasn't making
yeah,
it
it was
easier.
awkward. And we didn't really know, like, it was kind of, we were still fairly, I mean, we're not that far in, to this lifestyle, but we were pretty like pretty new,
Yeah.
so that was the first couple that, like, we had both really clicked with.
Yeah.
So then it was like, well, we played, and then all of a sudden their relationship exploded. We're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I was worried it was my, because that's the first thing I always do is, oh, it must be my fault.
Yeah.
From the Midwest, that's what you do.
Oh, yeah, that's what you do.
That is what you do.
We grew up there. We know everything's my fault. Even stuff
Sorry.
that I've never even talked to this person, but somehow 7 degrees of separation, I must be the reason. Yeah.
Yes. I have recently decided, though, that I am no longer apologizing for things that like, if I do something, I will apologize for it. But now, practicing it, we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah.
But so far, I got a good practice last night, so
Good.
so it went pretty well. But
I just want to say I love too what you said about this. I don't know, just the way that relationships exist, and now, like, the way that you're doing it in your sort of flavor of non-monogamy, which I know we'll get into a little bit more here, but it's just that when you like somebody, right, or there's feelings or whatever, that you don't have to hide it. You can even share it with this person, right? You can even say, hey, person, here's what I think, here's what I like about you. It's out there now. Like, maybe you don't reciprocate it, but you don't have to hide it, because by telling that to somebody, it's not against the agreement in your relationship or necessarily theirs. So, like, I've had that experience a few times where it's like one or the other person says it, or maybe even both are like, hey, we both like each other, but look at what life is. So we just know. We're not going to do anything about it, but we know. And, like, that's okay. And it's not cheating or dishonest.
Well, and that's kind of his thing. Like, I mean, I don't, to be totally honest, like, he got completely broken. I mean, it's just terrible, because he's one of those people that give 100% and only expect like 10% back in love. You know what I mean? Like, he's a giver. The way he loves his family, the way he loves his child, but she really, like, broke that. And I would never want to pressure him to have those kind of emotions again. I don't know that he wants to have those emotions again. I mean, obviously he thinks I'm cute because I'm adorable. And and I have a huge crush on him. He's well aware of it, but we're just friends.
Yep.
And we talk every day and we love each other. It's just a loving friendship.
Yep.
But when I first started talking to him again, now, mind you, like, we mostly just have been swingers. Like, I mean, we're opening up the mind to things, but I started getting feelings for him. And so I told the hubby, and I was like, okay, so I'm having these feelings, what should I do? And he does this all the time. Like, anytime I question anything, I'll be like, well, I'm feeling like this, or I'm wanting to do this. And he's like, are you having fun? Are you happy? Are you enjoying yourself? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, then keep doing it. I don't care.
I love
that. And it's just so easy for him. Like, it blows my mind how easy it is for my best friend to just be like, whatever, no big deal. Because I thought I was the wild one originally, but he's so comfortable. But I've never given him a reason to to lack my love for him.
Yeah.
But and I'm married to my best friend, and we both really just enjoy letting each other explore things. He likes more of like the parties, the fucking. He's really into the fucking. But before me, I'm going to call him out on here, but before, I would think I was like number 3 for him. I don't even know what my number was when I met him. But so I'm excited for him. Like for instance, we went to a party last night with some friends that we know. They were having like a house party get together. It was just like a giant orgy party. But I have bad pH right now. So I have a little bacteria issue. So I was out of service, at least from the waist below. But, I still wanted to see my friends. There's no pressure at any of these things. And I wanted him to have a good time, but I wasn't sure how I would handle it because I like getting my attention. I always want him to experience things and have a good time, but there's been like a few moments like where, like things piled up and maybe I didn't react very well, and so there's like this thought process in my head, like, well, that's not fair. Like, I can't tell him he can't, you know what I mean? And in my brain, I don't want that. I want him to, I want him to experience everything,
Yep.
because it's fun. I've been there. I've done a lot of it. Like, have some fun. But I wasn't really sure how I would, deal with it if I wasn't getting to be involved. So like, I told him like on the way there, like, this is a good growth moment for me. Let's see what happens. I said, if I get uncomfortable, I'll come get you. It's not, I'm getting much better over the years at like telling people when I'm uncomfortable. Or you guys had somebody on your podcast that was talking about like embracing jealousy. Like how instead of like negating it, just being like, yes, I'm jealous. I'm going to go get what's mine. Like putting power behind it. And I find that very powerful.
Yeah.
Because once I think of it like that, then there's also the part of me that's like, he's fine. He's having fun. Just let him. And so I was a little nervous about last night, but I was so happy for him. He like came down and took a little break, and I was like, how's it going? You need a towel? Like I was all ready to high five him. And then, he went and did some more, and I still got to like hang out. Like I had a blast.
Yep.
And everybody was very understanding, which was another big thing for me because I felt a lot of shame. I never had that, whatever it is, bacterial vaginosis or something of that nature. I never had it before. And I went and got all my, testing done, and that came back. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm unclean. And I went through this whole, because like growing up, like, don't let anyone smell your period. Your period is shameful. It's disgusting, all that stuff. So like anytime like, we'll say like anytime my vagina gets sick, I'm like, oh, she's disgusting. She's,
Yeah.
So
well,
it
that's
was
what
like,
we're taught, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're taught is right.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have anything, that's like the whole. If somebody has an STI, right? The old saying was, well, like, yeah, you're not clean, or my results are clean, right? Instead of being like, no, like, yeah, I contracted an STI, I will get treated, and life will go on. I'm not a dirty person. I'm not dirty for having bacterial vaginosis or any of these infections or things going on. Like, our bodies are our bodies. Like we don't control that a lot of the time.
And I just like, and I was really nervous about going and having to like tell people, like I had like a lot of shame with it. But I told myself, like, I'm tired of not speaking the truth. Like, I'm tired of like apologizing for myself. I just, it's like this new thing, like with all this stuff going on in the world right now. Let's just, abuse.
Loosely say that.
What stuff? I don't know what you're talking about.
All the abuse. And I've been very triggered. Especially recently with this Rape Academy thing. So I've had a lot of issues with it. A lot of feelings. It's bringing up a lot of things that I've been told, and just, I mean, I've probably been sexually assaulted over a dozen times,
Wow.
just because I'd never, like, some of it was because I didn't say no, some of it was, because I felt like I had to, some of it was, for safety, like,
Yeah.
maybe 4 or 5 of those were direct where I said no, and it still, there's times where, like, I passed out and I know somebody was, like, feeling me, that sort of thing. And so when that stuff came out, like, I kinda, like, had, like, a day. But after my day, I realized that I'm done. I'm done apologizing for myself. I'm done not saying something. Like, if somebody says something disgusting to me, I'm just gonna tell them, "What you just said is disgusting." Like, I'm just like, I've reached this point, like, I don't really get angry and I don't like holding on to rage, but, it just doesn't feel good for me. I'd rather attack things with love. It takes the same amount of effort. And, worst case scenario, I give love, I don't get it back, and my feelings get hurt, and I can move on. If I get rageful, especially with my bipolar, like, who knows? Like, I don't trust my brain enough to feed into, like, really big emotions like that. Like,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, so recently I was like, no, I'm not going to have shame. I'm going to be proud of who I am. It's my body, my choice.
Yeah.
I can do. And so part of my goal last night was to go be honest about what was going on and not apologize for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I told them I was disappointed because there were certain people that I was very
Totally.
disappointed that I didn't get to, play with. But there's next time. But I didn't apologize. I told people, and it was very, like, everybody was like, all the girls were like, "Oh my gosh, that happened to me," and da da da. Everybody was so understanding, and it was like, "What are you so scared of?"
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think, I mean, just to put it out there, and to like, I'm all tongue tied here, but it's just like, to me, what you're sharing is destigmatizing so many things here, right? And why is there so much shame around some of this stuff? Because people don't usually come to a party and say, "Here's actually what's going on.
Mhm.
Here's actually how I feel about it. Hey,
Here are my
I'm
limits
here are my
tonight.
limits. I'm bummed that I can't do this with you, but I'm excited to be here. And next time, maybe we'll have a different experience."
Yeah.
And then you put that out there and you get other people to say, "Oh shit, me too. I've never been able to talk about that."
Yeah,
And
I
it,
mean, it's the lifestyle has been so freeing for me. Like, I really do believe that I've always maybe just been non-monogamous. And, but the way I was raised, I was very strict, religious, almost, white nationalist cult religious.
Mhm.
So, I've been to some Jesus camps. And and so, like, yeah, there was a lot of impact on me that I needed to look a certain way, that I needed to act a certain way, that I needed to, like, apologize for, I have to be as strong as a man and be able to do things on my own and take care of myself and be, independent. But I also need to not step on men's toes, and I need to do this and, like, pay attention. It's been a constant thing, since I was young, that I've always had to be something.
Yeah.
And Ken was a big breaker for that because he doesn't give a fuck. And I don't mean that, like, in a bad way, like he doesn't care about people. He just doesn't give a fuck what people think about him. Like,
Yeah.
if he does something and he's regretful for it, he'll make it up tenfold. But overall, he just doesn't care, and he never has. Like, he doesn't have that, "Oh, what are they gonna think about this?"
Yeah.
Like, we all have that thing in the back of our head, like even just, like, putting on an outfit or something where you're like, "Oh, are they gonna like this?" Or, "Oh, you know, what are they gonna think?" Or, "If I say this, what are they—" He doesn't have that. Like, the filter that he has is broken. It doesn't work.
Or maybe it's working. Maybe it's working the way that it should work for the rest of us.
Yeah,
We should
right?
stop giving
Yeah.
so many
We could
fucks.
we could all learn from him. He's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. But
Uh,
so I kinda learned over the years from him.
yeah.
But lifestyle, I guess, so I went to therapy I had really bad, triggers, like physical triggers
Mhm.
that were getting in the way of my life. I didn't get medicated for my bipolar till I guess it would have been like 2018.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And
So it was,
I want you to continue this thread. I was just like kind of curious about that shift from like when you met Ken. It sounds like that was a big shift in your
yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
can you touch on that briefly and then jump
Yeah,
ahead?
yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Like I said, sometimes like I just get going.
Yeah.
Like, remember,
Yeah.
I'm bipolar. I'm a little manic. So the shift when I met Ken, I got drug out to the bar. I had been at the bar the night before with my she was like, I want to call her my friend, but she wasn't really a friend. She was just like a girl I went to school with that I hung out with and I go out with because she was fun. But I went out to the bar with her the night before and I picked someone up. And then the next day I was at work and she's like, please go out, please go out. And I was like, I just was out last night. Like, I literally did the walk of shame to work. I haven't even showered, you know? And she's like, no, 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 you have to come. So she promised to buy me booze all night. So I was like, fuck it, we'll go. And so I took a shower and I went right back out. I think I just threw the top on I had the night before. And we went out and we were at the bar. He's in the army. So it was like a skeezy military, like army college town bar.
Mhm.
And like super skeezy. And I saw him and another guy. They were like standing on the side of the wall, and my friend was like, like, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? And I was like, I kind of like geeky guys, like a little like goofy guys, just non-intimidating. um, but she pointed out the two guys, or she pointed out him specifically, and she's like, "Go ask his friend to dance because his friend's really drunk and he's probably not going to dance, and then you can get him to dance with you instead." Like it was like some kind of like she gave me some kind of like slide trick. Sure enough, it freaking worked because I never approached people before. Like my thought is always like, if somebody wants me, they'll come and let me know.
Mhm.
Like I'm not going to approach. Like I don't have time for that. And I never did. He was the first person I ever approached, like to pick up. And I did it that like I asked his friend and his friend's like, no. And then I asked him and he was like the designated driver. Like they basically drug him. Like he was starting to crack open a beer at the barracks. And all of his buddies were like, no, 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 you got to come out. You got to come out. We need a designated driver. So he got drug out too as well. So neither one of us were supposed to be there. And he said no, he wasn't going to dance with me. And then I gave him like a big pouty face and I was like, you're really going to make me. I said, I just asked your friend and I just asked you and you're going to make me walk all the way over there, walk of shame because I didn't get either one of you to dance with me. And he was like, oh, and he's not a dancer. He didn't even hardly dance at our wedding. Like he's not a dancer. My tits really got him out on the floor. That's all I can say. But so he danced with me for most of the night, like sort of like we just kind of like hung out in the dance floor and, talked some. I asked him, he likes to tell this story a little bit, but I asked him what he did because I was strict, no military because I grew up in the military and I didn't like it. And I hated the military. It was very like anti like government and everything at the moment. I've grown a little since then. I can appreciate some rules and boundaries. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I asked him what he did and he said, now he tells it that he said I was in the army and I looked like one of those cartoons that all of a sudden like jumps up in the air and starts to run away.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was sure I was leaving from that moment. And then I hung out and I stayed because I'm like, oh, he's army, but could still fuck him, like. I mean, he had a cute butt. What am I gonna do? So I hung out and then later in the evening, so like what really got me was later in the evening, he came to get my phone number. And this is like still like flip phones, like where you're using the dial pad to, type stuff in.
Yep.
And he comes and he gets my number and I give it to him and he takes off. And he comes back, he dropped his phone and the number never got saved. He's like, I just dropped my phone and the number never got saved. And I totally understand if you don't want to give it to me again, but I would love to still have it. So I gave it to him. It was adorable. It ended up that my friend wanted to sleep with his friend. So we ended up going back to her place, and I actually hooked up with him, and I told him, so we had fucked on the couch, and afterwards he's like, I don't even know how old you are, or something of that nature. And I, I jokingly, because I was like 25 at the time, I jokingly like went with like a really low number because, like just to like be funny. I was like, oh, I'm 15. It was not a funny joke for him. I'd never seen anyone try to run out the door that fast either. And then I told him, no, because I realized how poor of a joke it was, like immediately. And he made me show him my ID.
I probably would have too.
It's a good hookup story if you have to show him your ID.
Yeah, right.
Great work, Lori.
But from that moment on, we just kind of kept hanging out. We were together long enough for us to fall in love with each other. And then he got stop lost and sent over to Iraq for a year. I tried to break up with him because I was positive I could not go that long without sex, and I was going to cheat on him, and I didn't want to. But he gave me this, and because he had been married before too and was cheated on like 6 months into the marriage. So it was like, you cannot cheat on this guy, because I loved him. Like, like when you love someone, you don't want to do terrible things to them. So it was more like, look, save yourself, dude. You can't leave me for a year. None of my friends thought it would last. Like the fact that we're still together, like I'm not even friends with a lot of those people anymore, to be honest, because they're terrible friends. But yeah, like nobody expected me to stay faithful. I mean, and surprisingly, it wasn't that hard. I mean, I had some situations that I had to be like, no, this is not, but even when he came home, like I told, and it was good. He came home with a lot of PTSD, got out of the military. We moved to Phoenix so he could go become a motorcycle mechanic at a school down there. And again, like we're not, we really hadn't spent that much time together because we were together for so many months, and then he was gone for a year, and then we were together for a few months, and then he was going to go here, and I was like, well, I'm not doing anything, I'll go too. And we were down in Phoenix, probably just for like a couple months, and we went on an Easter ride on the bike, and it was a long day, long ride. It was a lot of dirt road. And on the way home, we got hit by a 3/4 ton truck, and just my whole leg got fucked up. Him too. Like it was bad. My leg, I crushed my femur in 2 places. I crushed my patella. I still don't have a kneecap. They just kind of they said it's just what it is. And then I had a compound fracture in my tibia. And what actually saved my life was my quad muscle split in half. And if it hadn't, I would have cut my femoral artery. So I was incredibly lucky. He had hurt himself, and he had his muscle was expanding in his leg, so they had to cut. So he looks like he has like a giant shark bite out of his leg. His is uglier. Mine, I was in a wheelchair for about 2 years.
Wow.
And I had 2 surgeries on it. The first femoral rod, after about a year, I bent it and broke the screws. So I had to get a second surgery. And after that one, the doctor, I mean, he was a jerk anyway, but the doctor was like, you need to invest in a wheelchair. Like, this is your life now. Fortunately, I am stubborn and I don't like not doing what I want to do. So I was in a wheelchair for a while. I kind of lost myself, and I was probably close to I was close to 400 pounds. And I decided if I was going to be stuck in a wheelchair, I should at least be healthy. So I started doing that. And then that led to me going in the pool. That led to me wanting to walk a mile, and then walk a 5K, and then jog a mile. And then I ended up doing Spartan races. And then I hurt myself on a Spartan race, And the doctor, instead of telling me I couldn't do it, he said, look, he goes, if you hurt this and break it, it's had multiple people do surgeries on it. It's like nobody's touching it. He goes, you break it, it's just going to be broken. And so then I stopped and I slowed down a bit.
That's an
but-
incredible recovery, though, to
Yeah.
go from
told you, I have like a lot of stories.
well to go from 400 pounds in a wheelchair to running Spartan races.
Yeah.
And I just love the way you describe, like, it was get in the pool, start walking, start
You gotta
jogging,
start
start like
somewhere.
that
Yeah.
that you were able to do that. I just the thing that keeps jumping out at me today in our conversation is just your resiliency, your strength, you said stubborn. I don't even think that comes close to touching it, but like what you have been through
Yeah.
and where you're at,
I am
something you said
resilient.
early. What's that?
I am resilient. That's
Yeah.
a common thread.
Well, and
Mhm.
you had said something early on that, when you got together with Ken and you were monogamous, that you really liked the stability of that. And I think that makes a whole lot of sense
Yeah.
Like,
after
it felt
having
very
heard the rest of
safe.
your story.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's why I think when he first brought it up, like my biggest issue with it was like, I'm not safe now.
yeah,
Like I'm
Mhm.
losing,
Losing
like
that stability or safety.
I wasn't concerned about losing him.
Mhm.
I was concerned about losing like my stability, my safety, my mental health.
yeah,
I mean, all my mental health success has been built around this. And we didn't even communicate that well. Like our marriage was always, and like we love each other. We're best friends. I mean, there's never been a lack of love. But with him having PTSD and me having bipolar and an immense amount of a different kind of PTSD,
yeah,
there wasn't a lot of communication
yeah.
in
Mhm.
our relationship. And there were a lot of arguments because neither one of us knew how to talk to each other.
Mhm.
But like I said, before I had some issues with like with triggers,
Mhm.
like I'd get like a loud noise back here and I'd just be shaking for the rest of the day. And I knew I was fine. I knew I was safe. I knew nothing was wrong, but I was still having like these physical
Yeah.
reactions.
Yeah.
So I started this therapy. I found this therapy, and it's called TIR. It's a traumatic incident reduction therapy. I
Mhm.
highly recommend, I mean, just hands down, anybody who has any kind of issues with a traumatic experience, like whether it's small or large. I mean, it doesn't have to, but if you have an experience that flashes through your head on the regular, like you have a movie playing, anytime you hear a certain sound, you see it all over again.
Mhm.
I highly recommend it. It's a different type of therapy. It's not talk therapy. They're starting to use it a lot with PTSD. It's a series of questions. They kind of have you answer these questions, and it's hard to explain really. I just say, look it up.
Mhm.
Look it up. But it basically has you at towards the end of the questions, and there's a whole process. But when you get to the final steps of it, you basically like relive the situation.
Mm.
Like every sound, everything. Like, and it's incredibly taxing. Like when I'm going through TIR, when I'm not like at the end sessions, especially if I'm bringing up new stuff, like I'm exhausted when I leave. Like I mean,
Mhm.
it's very hard. You have to put the work in. But the one TIR session, the first one that I did for the physical stuff, it took me 8 months. And I didn't have any physical triggers. Like I worked in a restaurant. I had people at the restaurant because they were always very careful. Like, don't walk up behind, don't,
Mhm.
because there's already so many noises. Um, you know, and I would give people a heads up. Like I always try to warn people, like, okay, like I have these things going, this has nothing to do with you.
Mhm.
And I would actually have some of them like, okay, you got to start sneaking up behind me. Like, sneak up behind me, scare me. I want to see if something happens. Just be prepared to run in case I punch, But, but yeah, like my physical triggers were complete. It was 8 months.
Wow.
And, I still go, especially like if something comes up, like I'm actively going now. We're not doing a lot of TIR because with my life at the moment, there's just, it's hard for me to focus and put the work in on TIR. So it's been a lot more talk therapy. Like to do it, you have to really like go in and be ready to like work,
Yeah. Yeah.
on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing a bit about that journey. And I mean,
Mhm.
it was the one thing or one of the things in here that I was curious about is how you and Ken have navigated stepping into non-monogamy together, with his history and
Mhm.
PTSD and everything, and yours with everything that you've already described to us today. Like to go into some of these spaces, I imagine would be just triggering by themselves.
Yeah, I think, well, so after that first session of TIR, I kind of learned how to communicate for myself.
Okay.
Like I don't really think that and the way that I was communicating for myself, it was like a lot of like, okay, so I feel this way. I understand that this isn't the reality, but this is where my head is. So, can we take that? And with me being better at communicating, he kind of learned from me how to communicate, and we communicate. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Like we talk about everything. I mean, and he's aware. Like for instance, we went to a hotel takeover, which so much fun. even though there's like a little bit of a jump, but it was a lot of fun. But we went and they had like one of those like where they pour the wax.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to do that. So I went and I laid and I had wax all over me. It was wonderful. I loved it. I was so happy. But what I didn't realize is that when they take the wax off, they use a knife.
Oh.
Yeah. Um, so, so a stranger used a knife, like right here along here, and just kind of like made a line. And I have very like pale skin. So I even had like a little bit of a red mark there for a few days that I would just like, like,
Mm-hmm.
and Ken saw it and he knew immediately. And he just kept eye contact with me the whole time and was like, "You're okay. I've got you," like just reminded me. And we still, and then I got up and I thought I was fine. I was not. The drunker I got and the more attention I kind of let him, because the girl he was hanging out with, I wasn't clicking with. And I really didn't like her guy and he was super pushy. And so I just kind of went and made new friends. But making new friends, I was drinking a lot. And eventually, like, I went outside for a little bit just to like sit and like eat a snack, that sort of thing. And I noticed the red mark on my chest. And it was just like that. It just a snap of the finger. I was completely triggered and it was a mess. Um, and, and like I went and I got him and I was just, it was a toxic mess. I was
Yeah.
triggered. And he wasn't there to protect me because he was playing with someone else and I completely was not cool about it.
Yeah.
you know and it was fine. It was one of those things. But we had to talk about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if we're going to try something new, we're going to watch we're not going to just watch most of the demonstration. We're going to watch
Yeah.
the full demonstration.
Yeah.
Or, like if there's a knife next time, he's going to maybe say, or I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say, can
Yeah.
we not use that? You know what I mean? Like I had
Mm-hmm.
the right
Yep.
to say I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I had the right when I would realize that I was starting to feel lonely at the takeover. I had the right to tell Ken, like, I'm lonely. I need your attention. Like, but it's taken some work through the lifestyle. That was really like the last time that like I didn't handle things well.
Sure.
They were a little extra pushed because of the knife situation. The nice thing with the kink is it's really like it's helping me. Kink is just, it's amazing for me. It's really helped me like be in these places where I don't have control, yet I still do.
Yeah.
Like I can be tied down and blindfolded and, flogged and made uncomfortable, but I'm safe. Like there's nothing not safe about it. Like I know that Ken's not going to do anything to me that's unsafe or let anything happen to me. And there's just, I'm able to shut my brain off because it never shuts off. Like I'm constantly overthinking everything.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of it, and so I keep it in check. And there's a lot of times, like we say a lot, like, okay, like I know this isn't the reality, but I need to just let you know where I'm at.
Yeah,
It's so
to
powerful.
clue the other person into your internal experience.
Yeah, and he's gotten better at communicating. He tends to shut off. His PTSD just like makes him like get quiet. And when I get like messed up, like I need to talk. So it's always been like a weird blockade. Like, so, and once in a while we both like recently, cause we're living, with my mother-in-law, and, recently, like we were both dealing with the fire, like very like we're having a bad day on the same day. And so neither one of us were able to guardrail the other person. So we had a minor explosion, but then we're like, oh shit, damn it. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's these high stress situations.
Yeah, you're dealing
right?
with a high stress situation.
Yeah.
For the listeners, we
think
chatted.
I'd be used to it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we can get used to some of these. But for the listeners, we chatted before we hit record that you had just dealt with a house fire and lost another incredible loss. Yeah.
Absolutely everything.
We think officially here that it's time for you to have a couple wins. So we need you to stop.
So. I think we're ready. Tomorrow they start digging, and it's, the one nice thing. Yeah. The one nice thing is because we had a farm. So I had barely talked him into 19 chickens last year, and I had to get rid of all my chickens.
Oh.
And I finally had a nice rooster. So I was really sad about it. It was like the only thing I had left was my chickens, and I had to get rid of them. So now he's going to build me a whole poultry barn so I can have turkeys and chickens. And I'm pretty sure I can get like 25 or 30. So we'll see.
Excellent.
Fingers crossed.
Here comes the win.
Yeah. See, that's
and I also want to say, like, last night sounded like a win too.
Sounded healing.
Yeah. And that's really like everything with the lifestyle. Like, I feel like and I've always like felt this like about everything in life. Like the good stuff doesn't happen when you're comfortable. You have to get out of the box and be uncomfortable to find out like what's there. Worst case scenario, you fail. And that's even like when I was in my 20s and failing constantly as far as, in my head anyway, I was still actively doing that. I was like, well, something either really good or really bad is going to happen, like, okay, well, I packed up everything I own in my car and I'm just going to drive till I, run out of gas and I'm going to live there. It'll either go really well or really bad, And that's kind of how I've always taken everything on. But with the lifestyle, I've really had to like remind myself to do that. Like just experience things. Like worst case scenario, you don't like it, and you don't do it again. Or maybe you do it again, but maybe a little bit differently, because sometimes it's nice to try things twice before you negate it.
Yes.
The first time you can be so overwhelmed,
Totally.
Yeah. Sometimes you do have to have the second try and to be able to see and really decide how you feel about it.
Yeah. But the biggest thing that I have really taken from all of this is just like one, consent. Like who knew in my 20s when I was going to bars and stuff that consent even existed? Like I didn't even know that, like, I know, like, you hear, like, no means no, but nobody listens. Like, nobody. At least not where I live, not what I experienced anyway. Like, so so I really enjoy having a place where I feel safe enough to kind of like explore just accepting myself, accepting my body and all of its imperfections and realizing, just because my tits hang because I've breastfed doesn't mean that people don't like them, that sort of thing. And, everything from like those shallow things to like getting to have all these fantastic friendships, like not having to like put things into a box. Like, well, this is this friend. And I've always had a lot of like when he met me, I was living with two guys. Like I have always been kind of a guy friend kind of girl. So it's, like, and when you're officially, married and you have the kid and you're doing the whole thing and you're following all the rules and stuff, like having a guy friend that like you get like they text and you're like, "Ooh, yay, I'm excited." Even if it's not a romantic thing in any form, like you still feel like is this emotional cheating? Like what is this,
Yep.
But now like I can have these great guys friendships and maybe they're just friendships, maybe they're more, and maybe we'll sleep together, maybe we won't. I mean, but it doesn't matter. Like I can just enjoy what I have when I have it and be appreciative. And I've always been a big believer in spreading love. Like, and it hasn't always been easy. There's a lot of things in life that happen that just take that away from people. Like it hardens them. And not to say that I'm not hardened, but I have a lot of love to give. Like I love everyone. I'm a safe place in our little town for people of the trans community, and I just, I just love people. If they're worth, like now I don't just give love to anybody, but if I feel like someone's worthy of my love, like cuz I will love to the point that like I mean like sometimes it scares people off. They're like, "Oh, are you hitting?" And it's like, "No, I just like I'm allowed to love you as a human."
Yep.
I didn't say, I wanted you to take me on a date or anything, I'm not there's no expectation like with my friend now that, my little crush.
Yeah.
Um he's going through a lot. Like a lot. I mean, there's just a lot going on in his life. He has the kid all to himself. He had to move out completely. He had to restart everything with no help. Now he's having to go through divorce stuff and custody and support and all that stuff. And then of course, like, of course there's drama involved with all of this on the outside too. And like, and I love him unconditionally. And if he needs anything, like even there's been times where like, like he's been a little anxious. So I send him a booby picture. It doesn't mean I need him to touch him or, but it breaks him out of his, train of thought. Like, oh, okay. Like there, he was at a concert one time and he was like really, cause he's very anxious and, he was really anxious. So I told Ken, I was like, I said something about it. And he goes, he said, send him a booby picture. That'll just like jolt his brain for a minute. So he did. And it was, it worked. But like, and we had played before. So like, we know about each other's parts and stuff, but he doesn't need that. He needs my friendship. And I need his friendship. He does so much more than he realizes for me. Like he's like a calm for me, kind of. But yeah, so like I have no expectations of him fulfilling my crush. I'm content just like having a little crush and just enjoying like being his friend. Like I'll go like when I go spend like a weekend with him, it's just like hanging out and watching TV and like we smoke weed and then sometimes like the kid wants to go, like his kid wants to go like to the mall. And so we go to the mall or we go for a hike. It's just a friendship. I sleep in a completely, he gives me the bedroom and he sleeps on the chair. It's, it's like you would look at it, it's absolutely nothing, but it's one of my favorite relationships I have, even though that's just what it is.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you really describing it in detail because I think these are the types of things when people talk about in my opinion, when people talk about relationship anarchy, this is it, right? This
Yeah.
is us saying what really works. Well, it works exactly like this, and this is how we do it. And I love that it's you just said like I get so much out of this that he doesn't even understand, and
Yeah.
I'm guessing he does as well.
Oh,
And
he
I think
does. He tells me
yeah,
he really appreciates me.
yeah,
A lot of times I think he feels like he's too much and, that sort of thing. But
Mhm.
I mean, he just got his like heart like completely
yeah,
trampled on by, I
Mhm.
mean,
yeah,
he was so like he loved her, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
mhm,
Like, and he's such a loving guy, and he's been shit on a lot in his life. I mean,
yeah,
just like he's given, 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 and gotten very little in return. And that
Mhm.
breaks my heart. So I feel like I don't need a lot from him. I just want to give him as much
mhm,
support and
Mhm.
love as I have to give. Now, if
Mhm.
yep,
at any point it was too much, or, because I've had moments, we've been through a lot
mhm,
as friends, even in
yep,
this last year. And there's been times where like I'm a little weaker and he's
Mhm.
there for me. And
Mhm.
and it's really nice just not having to like I don't understand the labels anymore.
yep,
Like,
Mhm.
I like the lack of labels. I mean, it's a little complicated because, like, well, what are, because people always want to, like, ask questions. It's like, he's my friend.
yep.
Mhm.
I mean, Ken is aware of my
What that
feelings and
means. Yeah,
stuff. Like, he knows all about it.
yep,
But that's literally, he's just my friend. And it's nice to not have to stop a friendship because of like these dumb fucking rules that were given.
Right.
yep,
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
They're dumb rules, like
Yeah.
and they're made up, and no, there's no boss that says this is what a friendship is, right?
yeah,
You know what it is. Your husband knows what it is.
Mhm.
he
This
knows what
other
it
guy
is,
knows what
yeah.
it is. Everybody is on the same page. It doesn't matter what the person at the supermarket thinks
Right.
or
Yeah,
your other friends or whatever. Like, you
Right.
get to decide, and I think
yeah.
Right.
that's the power of it.
Well, and it sounds like like the power of that for the two of you for sure. And then also with you and Ken, like you two have found, it sounds like, and are finding as you go on this journey and continue on this journey, what works for both of you individually and what works together. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's different and sometimes it's the same. And you're figuring out that as you move forward.
Yeah, and I mean, the really beautiful part of it to me, um, the part that I'm, like, just so grateful for and,
Mhm.
yeah, like we talked about, like, I've been through a lot of stuff, I've had a lot of losses, right? But I won too with him. Like, how wonderful is it to be with someone, even though we have all these monogamy, patriarchy, like ways that we're supposed to do things, and we're both raised in that way. How beautiful is it for someone to love you enough and be your best friend to a point that they want you to just be happy? Like
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. Like, oh, that makes you smile, then do it.
Yep.
Just like, and
Mhm.
I really got to experience that last night, and it was just like, because you never know. There's so many
Yeah.
emotions. You never know
Yeah.
how you're gonna react. You just have to be prepared to, like, communicate and work through it.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
it was nothing. I had no issues last night. I absolutely was so excited for him, and I was so happy that he had so much fun, and I look forward to being more involved so I can see more of it next time.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
he had such a good time, and it did nothing but make my heart happy that he got to experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, what's the point of loving if that's not what it can be?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep. Mm. I would just say, Glory, I mean, I think the world needs more love. You have spent
Mm.
the last hour and a half loving the world on our show, and I'm just very grateful for you to come on and share in the way you did. And I think I want to specifically say I'm very grateful for you sharing everything you went through around the rape and your pregnancy, because I think to
And
me
your mental health
and your
too.
mental health, these are the things that don't get talked about because they're so fucking hard to
mhm,
talk about.
Yeah.
But to be able to hear somebody's story and know you're not alone in that, and I think to hear for other people to hear, right? Because there's so much of this bullshit narrative of like, well, yeah, like you said, your friend was like, well, if you weren't so slutty, this wouldn't happen, or if
exactly.
you didn't do this, it would happen. It's like when you actually get to hear somebody's story, what was actually going on, what, how you wound up there, what you did to try to get out of it, right? You're traveling around selling magazines door to door as part of a scam
Survival.
Survival.
You just
so you
live
can
in survival.
get out of the state, just so you can get to a state where you can, like, how fucked up that is, but that you were doing anything, any means possible to take care of yourself and to even do the best thing for the child. And so it means the world that that you came on and shared, and I'm just very grateful for you.
Well, thank you. I feel like there's a lot of people probably who have been in similar situations.
Without a doubt.
And I feel like if I can share that, like, hey, yeah, all this shit happens, but you just keep plugging along with love, it comes back. I mean, it's not easy, and I highly recommend therapy and support. I know I said I didn't really have anything to like plug while I was here, but I would like to just mention my friend Matthew. He runs an organization in Kansas. It's called LGBTQKS.org. It's a support system for trans and the queer community.
Perfect.
In the middle of nowhere.
We will link it in the show notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did ask him if I could just kind of mention that, because Kansas could use, some support.
Kansas could use some love. So we got you. We got you. Thank you, Glory.
Is there anything else that you wanted to get out there today?
Before we do bonus questions.
That's right. No, just just like, if anybody is struggling with, shame or loving them, any kind of that stuff, just keep trying. Don't give up.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's still not easy, but I'm so happy with what I have. And that's really the important stuff is, the people in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for everything and for coming on and sharing. And like you said, I know there are people out there that will relate to your story.
Yeah. And like, if anybody is, struggling with like bipolar or had any questions for me, like, I don't necessarily want to give out all my information, but if they wanted to get in touch with you and you guys, like, I would be more than happy to be support or helpful in any way. I just, with where I live, I got to stay a little incognito.
We got you.
Yeah. But listeners, you can reach out to us and we can connect you.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Glory, for everything. And we look forward to, I will say, hopefully having you on again in the future. And maybe we even rope Ken into it.
I think he'd be into it. Yeah. He just mostly like let me be, because he can kind of steal, like okay, so I talk a lot, obviously, but like he's way worse.
We'll just have you two on. We'll just hit record and we'll just let you be, and we'll just sit over here and listen. And then
you'll never.
Then an hour and a half later, we'll be like, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he mostly, he thought it was important for me to share about the rape and the mental health, and he thinks that that's important for people to hear. So he kind of wanted me to just, because I asked him if he wanted to do this with me this time, and he's like, no. He goes, you just do it. This is going to be good for you. Like, it's this is my growth too, is sharing this with a bunch of strangers.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, it means the world to us, and I'm glad that it's been healing for you as well. And a huge thank you to Ken, and just to both of you.
So yes. Thank you.
Yes.
And for our listeners, we'll leave it here. But if you happen to be a premium subscriber, which you should be at this point, go listen to us talk on the bonus questions. So thank you again, Glory.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
And we're back. Thank you, Glory, for reaching out, coming on the show, and sharing your story. It was incredibly powerful to talk with you today, and we're so excited to get this out there.
Yeah, thank you from my side as well. We really look forward to the next time we get to chat as well. And Ken, this is your formal invitation, so we expect to have you here next time. So yes, thank you both for everything today.
And a reminder to go over to the premium subscription and sign up if you're not already a member to listen to the bonus content. Glory comes back back on and answers a lot of fun questions with us.
And you don't want to miss it. The other thing we've got to tell you about right now is just that next week we've got our next monthly community workshop coming up on June 11th. Again, we told you a little bit about this in the intro, but this one is called Beyond I Do, Legal Agreements to Protect Non-Traditional Families. And this workshop is led by Becky Calloway, who actually will be on the podcast later this summer. So we'd love to have you come and join us. It only takes a few minutes to apply and join our community, and then you get these workshops for free. So go ahead and do that, and we will see you next week.
And also next week, next Wednesday, we have our regularly scheduled interview. This time it's with Ryan. You're going to want to come back and listen then.
And we will see you all then.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.